Imagine a small-town police station late at night, rain dripping down the windows, the faint hum of an old heater filling the silence. A young girl, no more than 12, stands nervously in front of a smirking cop. She says something bold, almost unbelievable. "My dad was Special Forces. He's a hero, you should show him respect." The officer chuckles, shaking his head, brushing off her words like a child's wild imagination. But then, the doors creak open, and in that single moment, the laughter dies. Because what walks into the room isn't just a tired, single father, it's a man whose presence tells a story of battles fought, sacrifices made, and secrets too heavy for any one man to carry. And that's where this story begins. The night had been long and unforgiving. 12-year-old Emily clung to her father's jacket sleeve as Officer Daniels questioned them about a misunderstanding at the grocery store. Her dad, Michael Carter, had been accused of starting an argument with a stranger, though in truth, he'd only stepped in when the men insulted Emily. Michael, a quiet single dad and veteran, rarely raised his voice, but when it came to protecting his daughter, his instincts took over. Inside the station, the fluorescent lights buzzed harshly. Emily stood her ground, chin lifted. "My dad isn't just some man," she said, her voice trembling but determined. "He was Special Forces. He fought for people who couldn't fight for themselves. He deserves respect." Officer Daniels leaned back in his chair, a smirk tugging at his lips. "Special Forces, huh? That's cute. Heard that one before. Kid, every dad thinks he's a hero." His laughter stung, sharp and dismissive. Emily's eyes burned, but Michael gently squeezed her hand, his calm silence louder than any defense. Michael never boasted about his past. The scars on his arms, the distant look in his eyes, the way he could read a room in seconds, those were quiet reminders of a life Emily barely understood. He worked double shifts at a warehouse, cooked dinner every night, and always made sure Emily's homework was done. To her, he was already a hero. But to the world, he was just another tired single dad. As Daniels mocked, another officer walked in holding a folder. His eyes fell on Michael, and suddenly, his posture changed. He whispered something urgently to Daniels, who stopped laughing immediately. Confusion rippled through the room. Emily glanced at her father, whose expression remained steady, unreadable. The file held classified records recently declassified enough to confirm one thing: Michael Carter wasn't just a veteran. He was a decorated operator who had served in missions so dangerous they were still spoken of in hushed tones among soldiers. The mocking grin faded from Daniel's face as he realized the truth standing before him. Emily felt a surge of pride, but also confusion. Why had her dad never told her everything? And why did people look at him like he carried both honor and a shadow too heavy to name? That night ended without charges, but it sparked something Emily couldn't ignore: the question of who her father really was, and why he carried so much pain behind his quiet strength. The following week, the town held its annual community gathering at the school gymnasium. Families filled the bleachers, children played on the floor, and banners decorated the walls. Michael rarely attended these events, he preferred to stay in the background, but Emily insisted. She wanted people to see him the way she did. But as they walked in, whispers followed. Some remembered the scene at the station. Some mocked quietly, Special Forces, sure. Emily's heart ached, but she held her dad's hand tighter. Midway through the evening, the mayor invited veterans in attendance to stand and be recognized. A few men rose, applauded respectfully. Michael stayed seated, eyes downcast. Emily nudged him. "Dad, please." He shook his head gently. "Not all heroes wear uniforms anymore, Em. Sometimes the best thing you can do is live quietly." But fate wouldn't let him hide. A guest speaker, a retired colonel, was introduced. He stepped to the microphone and scanned the crowd. His eyes landed on Michael, and suddenly, his voice broke with recognition. "Ladies and gentlemen, forgive me for going off script, but, tonight, you have someone sitting among you who doesn't just deserve applause, he deserves gratitude beyond words. Sergeant Michael Carter, U.S. Army Special Forces, was one of the bravest men I ever served with." The room fell silent. Michael froze, discomfort flashing across his face. But Emily's eyes widened as the colonel went on. He spoke of missions Michael had led, lives he had saved, sacrifices made in silence. Not details, but enough to paint a picture of a man whose courage had shaped history in unseen ways. Slowly, people stood. Applause filled the gym, rising like a wave. Emily looked at her dad through tear-filled eyes, whispering, "See. They know now." Michael swallowed hard, tears threatening at the edges of his stoic composure. He wasn't a man who craved recognition, but in that moment, he allowed himself to stand. For Emily. Later that night, as they walked home, Emily leaned against him. "I always knew, Dad. You didn't have to tell me." Michael smiled faintly. "The greatest mission I ever had wasn't out there, Em. It's right here, being your dad." And with that, the story of a single father, once mocked and underestimated, became not just a tale of hidden valor, but of the quiet, unshakable love between a soldier and his daughter. The world often overlooks the quiet heroes among us. Sometimes, the strongest people are not the ones who shout their stories, but the ones who carry them silently, while giving their all to the ones they love.